Hi everyone, Charlene Bauer, Ladies Off-Road Network, and we are live at 5 from the Indian Reservation. Like, why not go from Baja to an Indian Res, right? Like, that totally makes sense. So, on our way from Baja to Arizona and now to Moab, this is the travel plan. so we pulled over to say hello. Piston's right here. Everybody say hi to Piston. Hi, Piston. Yep, he might pop up every once in a while. Oil's in the back seat. He'll probably cruise by at some point. Wes is over here. Driver of record. I'm co-driving. Yes. AKA I got a little bit of nap. Anyways, so I want to do the business first, and then I have all kinds of fun Baja stories to tell you, so please stay tuned. But we need to do a couple things first. Oh, here comes Oil. He wants to say hi. Number one, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving week, everybody. Throw some hearts. Throw some hearts for everybody. Say happy Thanksgiving. Let's get that popping and going. Last week I did post about the resolution. Remember, we have just 5 weeks left in 2023, but 5 weeks. Think about it in a positive manner. Think about how much you can get done in 5 weeks. You can still get one of those resolutions taken care of. You can still get one of those goals off your list. You can still do it, my friends. So if I have your 2023 resolutions, they are in the mailbox, which I found in all the moving chaos just before we left on tour. Has it been 2 months ago now since I've been in the Moab house? Yeah, think about that, everybody. Think about that. It's been a long time since I've been home. So I found it. We acquired it. They're there. They're ready to get shipped back to you. But I'm going to give you a couple more weeks in order to get some more stuff taken care of and get it handled. Sound good? All right, so that's the resolution. If you're not familiar with the resolution, don't stress out. We will bring that back up here in another couple weeks as we get prepped for 2024. This is where you guys get to write down your goals. Super simple. Send them in, and we hang on to them and support you throughout the year. Then we have the Arizona. Back to Arizona in about a week. We have the Arizona Dirt Expo on Saturday and Sunday, the 2nd and 3rd. So join us, Arizona folks, over there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Following week, we have our Arizona classes. So if you want to get in on our 5-hour class, you have the opportunity. You have Gilbert on Tuesday, Tucson on Wednesday, and Glendale on Thursday. So that gives you guys the opportunity to pick what day works best for you and what location of Phoenix works best for you as well. If you have an opportunity or you want to join in, fly in, please do. This would be a great time to do it. We do not have any 5-hour classes planned for the beginning of next year. So this is that one where you want to take advantage of the opportunity and get it checked off the list so that you can move on and do other cool stuff with us. Then the week of December 11th is the week of giving. So what that is if you are a member, a current standing member, you go into a big bucket for all kinds of cool stuff that we give away. And I mean cool stuff. Our list is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'll start talking about what that is now that we're back from all the travel and all the chaos, and start getting it hyped up to all the cool stuff that you can win during the week of giving. So if you're not a current member, let's work on that. Let's make sure that we get you in there. If you are, handle, check mark, gotcha, no stress. You don't have to do anything. You will get an email from me at some point that says, I got you. During that week as well, we will also be doing our challenge drawing. So everybody that participated in the 2023 challenge, all your points are getting tallied, and then you will also go into a challenge drawing. So that will be separate from our week of giving, and I will put that schedule out so everybody knows exactly what day they should be on there. During the week of giving, I do have to note though, you have to be present to win. So you have less than 24 hours in order to claim your gift, or else it goes back on the next day. The challenge, not so much. You don't have to be there in order to win. You put a lot of work in, and I know how to get in touch with you, so no stress on that. We will also be rolling out all of the 2024 plans. So for all my ladies that are planners, all you crazy ladies, you love this week, because this is when I tell you, okay, here's the calendar of events that's coming up in 2024. Here's the options, here's the opportunities, and let's make this work for you. It's all the big stuff, not necessarily all the little stuff, right? So we can always add more. And I try really hard not to delete anything. If something gets deleted, that is a challenge as well, right? So that is the week of giving. That's why that week is so important to tune in every single night. Yeah, there's Sarah, my over planner. Like, she's rad. She's the one that's like, yes, 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 hurry up. Somewhere also in the middle of all this, we do have a couple new shirts that I want to get out for you guys. We have them designed. We just need to get it up online and for sale. You know, little things like that. We do have an Arizona event coming up in January that will be for 10 ladies. That's it. It will get capped at 10 ladies. It's very much a garage event. It's a very rad. This is something that you very much want to be a part of. So, yeah. That's something to keep an eye on, and I will be posting that up pretty quick. We also have King of the Hammers coming up at the end of January, so we will be posting about that and what our exact plans are for that, and if you're choosing to come out to King of the Hammers, how you can participate with Ladies Off-Road Network and get some VIP experiences there. And then we will also be launching our spring skills camps, because those are coming up in March in Arizona, not only for our full wheel drive market, but it'll also be for our van market and for our camper trailer girls as well. So a lot going on. And I know y'all think that I've just been down hanging out on the beach in Baja, but we've been working really hard. So there's a lot going on in the background, trying to get everything locked and loaded. And we also have our reunion, our first reunion, Ladies Off-Road Network reunion. After 7 years, we're going to pull everybody together that has been to an event. That will be the last weekend in February. And again, I will get the details out with the location. But you definitely, if you have come to an event, a physical event, you've been to one, lock and load that last weekend in February so that you can join us. I'm also getting us certification classes lined up, like we were talking about in a previous live, and I don't want to go into all the detail right now because you're really here just to hear about Baja, huh? Like all that other stuff, sure, Charlene, whatever, cool and all, but can you get on to the stories already? Isn't that what you're saying? Yeah, come on, tell me that that's really the truth. All right, hold on. We did stop and get some sweet tea. Oh, it's a Christmas cup. It looks like a Mexican flag. I'm like, how funny is that? All right. So with that being said, here we go. Are you ready? Baja. 2 weeks of work is what it was. It was 2 weeks of work. We had the most amazing BFG BC1 team that you could possibly put together. In order to be on the team, from our perspective, you have to be on the performance team, a performance team member. What that means is that's the top 20 of athletes for BFG. And so it's very exciting just to begin with. Like, you think about who was there. There were 6 of us that were performance team members, and then there was 2 that were engineers for BFG. I think that this is really cool. So not only do you have 6 people that are in off-road and on-road at the top of their class, but also we have 2 engineers that are right with us, testing the tires, seeing how they work and what happens. Along with that, we had our leaders, Javier and Jeff has been doing this for years and years and years, and Javier has been learning from him for the last few years, so they're amazing. We had John, who's another engineer and also somebody that took care of us. And then we had our chase crew. We had Larry and we had Dan and a wonder of other people that were just like in the circle, but that was like our tight circle that traveled together. We also had our people at home that were supporting us from the homeland, and especially during race time, that was really, really important as far as the tracking was concerned. Although I'm going to say Starlink changed everything. So where we used to go to Baja and not have contact or anything, yeah, now we actually had anything we wanted as long as we were either in a vehicle with a Starlink on it or hovering right behind it as the minivan did. So you'll hear me talk about minivan life because that's where I ended up, in the minivan. So we hovered behind the truck that had Starlink quite a bit, and that's how y'all got all those social media posts up. But that is part of it. You know, those pictures and everything that we post make it look amazing. And trust me, it was amazing. The food was amazing. The experience was amazing. Everything was amazing, but it was a ton of work. I saw more sunrises and sunsets than I've seen in a long time. You know, we're on the guy schedule. So we're up at 4:30, leaving by 5, 5:30, leaving by 6, like whatever it is. And pre-run. So week 1 that we were down there, we flew in on Sunday. I flew down to Cabo on Sunday. Immediately we went to work, got everything organized, because first thing Monday morning, like first thing, leaving at 6 a.m., we were off pre-running. I'm going to tell you my personal stories too, so you're getting some good stuff here. Is on day 1, like I was anticipating a lot, because okay, here we go, we got a helmet we got to put on that I haven't worn before. And I was using somebody else's helmet. We'll get into that story in a minute. So a helmet that I was putting on that didn't know if it was going to work or not. We had a car. I'm co-driving for the first time for Lance, which I want to do a great job, right? And what does he want? What does he doesn't want? You know, what matters, what doesn't matter. And then at the exact same time, this is our section. So we only got to see this section one time, and it was on the first day. So we're trying to figure out our car, we're trying to figure out our section, we're trying to figure out our routine just between the two of us. At the exact same time, we're trying to memorize our course and write notes, because we had we could drop pins. I could drop a pin right here on my GPS, and then I would voice record into a voice recorder what that pin meant, so that then later we could put it on the GPS and be able to, during race day, utilize that information and either slow down or speed up or whatever it was that we needed to do per that pin drop. So all of it was going on and it was aggressive. Day 1 was very aggressive, and at the end of the day, as always, we nailed it, because you take a deep breath, you focus on what you need, you focus on what's going on, and deep breath, right? Deep breath. So we did good. Day 1 was awesome. Day 2, we got more into it as far as driver, co-driver, you know, what do you need? What do you need more? Do you need less? We also had a comms issue where we couldn't hear each other back and forth. So we got really good at hand signals and being able to call every turn based on hand signals. So we practiced that quite a bit. Like, hey, if we don't have comms, then what else do we do, right? So we practiced that. Practice calling things out. Then when we did have comms, I'm like, okay, this is towards the end of the week, I'm like, okay, so what do you like better? Do you like it when we can talk, or do you like hand signals instead? He's like, well, actually, I really like it when we talk, because then I at least know that my co-driver's paying attention. I'm like, oh, no problem, I can talk. And he's laughed back. And so I started talking more, and then he's like, maybe a little less. And we just started laughing. I'm like, okay, got it. Little less. We're fine. It's good. Gotcha. So we felt like that happy medium of how to deal with it. And if our comms didn't work, we still had a great hand signal program. But that's the kind of stuff that you have to manage. Like, you know, what does he want as a driver so that he can be successful and do his job while I'm being successful doing my job, which is trying to help call the turns, understand what's going on, honk, you know, pass, etc. So that was all happening. Each of the teams got a day off. Our day off was on Wednesday, and we did all pre-run the entire course together, as you guys saw. So Wednesday was our day off, so we got that day to let our bodies kind of settle down just a little bit, take a day. We were in the chase trucks, so we were still with everybody. We were still definitely part of the game, but we just were not driving on the race course for that day. So that was on Wednesday. And then Thursday, I drove. So that was really cool. I got my back behind the wheel. I hadn't driven a BC car, and I realized this while we were there, since 2014 when we did the KO2 launch down in Baja. So it'd been a while since I'd actually been behind the wheel of this style of buggy, and got some seat time in, got some good stuff going on, so that who knows, there's always an option. And who knows, if something happened to Lance while we were out there and I had to flip-flop, I at least had the recollection of how everything worked again, not just like, oh my gosh, okay, now what do we do in the middle of a race environment? Like, that's not intelligent planning. So we did some intelligent planning. We got the drive style out of the way, got it going on, and everything was perfect and awesome. Continued on Thursday and Friday. I'll talk about my taco story right now. So we're in Visconstano, and there's this taco place that's amazing. They have this awesome El Pastor that they're there, you know, cutting off. I posted some pictures of it. But the funny part is when I got my tacos, my carne asada tacos, I got 4 of them, and I'm like, okay, you know, at the hot sauce, like, caliente, mucho caliente, muy caliente, like hot. Caliente means hot. And they pointed, they're like, oh, no caliente, you know. I'm like, okay, cool. And I looked at it though, and you could see the steam coming off of it. Like, it was a little oily, and you could see the seeds. Like, that to me says caliente, but okay, I'm gonna trust you. So luckily, I only committed to 2 of my tacos with that on it. Others were not so smart. They went all in. And so I ate the first bite of my taco, and I about died. Like, this white girl was not white anymore. I was beet red. I got the hiccups immediately. Like, it was aggressive. Everybody else their noses were running, like our plates were full of napkins, and it was not because of the carne on our hands. And so we were just dying over there. And again, luckily I went through the 2 tacos that had the sauce, and then I had 2 to like pull myself back down again. Everybody else just was completely over the top. So when we went to leave, I went up to the guys, and I'm like, mucho caliente, and they started laughing, giggling, and I'm like, oh my god, they totally pulled one over on us. Like, they do this to all the white people, don't they? And so I was laughing. I'm like, come on. I'm like, Senorita Blanca, and they literally started laughing out loud. So super funny moment. But it gets better, because then when I'm going to fast forward here just a little bit, we were coming back down because we had to go from Ensenada back down to La Paz, and we ended up stopping at the same place. And so we went to the same restaurant, of course, to get tacos, because of course they're amazing. And I swear, their faces when we walked in to this place, and they're like, oh no, she's back, and it was so funny. So I'm like, remember, Senorita Blanca, and they pointed at the green ones. They're like, this one's for you, this one's for you. I'm like, okay, great. And that one was the one for me. So they get their jokes in too. On us. But anyways, Friday we finished off our pre-running super hard section, super aggressive section, like 5 days of being in the car, smashing yourself up, 4 technically, right? But still, even being in the chase trucks, you're still doing a lot of work. And that last day was just hard and aggressive and rough, and I'm so glad that we did it, because it made us on race night respect how much was actually going on in the car that night. And Friday night we ended up at one of my favorite places called Horsepower Ranch, and so this is the Ensenada location for Wide Open Baja. And Ensenada Horsepower Ranch has so much memorabilia and so many cool things in there from Baja, and so many legends, and so many people have sit at that bar. And it's one of the early memories that I have was being there and doing media from there as well. So it was cool that that was our end for pre-running week. So that was on Friday. Then we got up super early on Saturday and we headed back south, right? Back down to La Paz. All the way, we did 2 days. We did 8 hours a day. So again, we stopped in Vizcancino, and that's where we had our tacos again. But I'm really proud of our team. So I'll go backwards to, years in the past where I've come down with teams and we hustle. And it's always work, you guys. It truly is. Like, yeah, we eat tacos and you're hearing about it now, but like, we're hustling and we're working and we're trying to get as much pre-running in as possible. And you're 5 miles, you're 2 minutes, you're right around the corner from these amazing missions, from these amazing pieces of Baja's history, and you never take time to do it. And so in 2016, I had the opportunity to do trail emissions with Cameron Steele, and I do encourage you to go find the ABC special that we put together, that they put together with us in it. I have the link in my write-up over on my personal page if you need to find it. But it gave me a different appreciation for Baja, right? I had never taken time or had the opportunity to take time to see these missions and see all these cool places. So I am proud of our team on this route. Even a lot of the guys that have been down multiple years in a row, they had never seen half of the stuff that we did. And so I'm like, hey, this mission's right around the corner, and then this mission is right there, and all of a sudden everybody got engaged in it, and they're like, this is right here, and let's go see this really fast. And so you saw where I think we got like 6 or 7 missions in, and it was kind of a group effort of pushing ourselves to stop to enjoy the space. And I'm really proud of our team for doing that. We also stopped at, it was a bakery that was from the 1800s. The chapel that was right there was actually built by the same guy that built the Eiffel Tower. So things like that, that we got to experience, and a lot of it had to do with us also having the ability to break it up on 5 days going up and then 2 days coming back down, all the way down to La Paz. We got in on Sunday night, and again we had to get straight to work on Monday morning, because now we actually got to our race car. So the race car we saw for the first time Monday morning in Cabo, and La Paz to Cabo is about 1 hour and 45 minutes, so we had a big long drive to get down there and get back. And we got down there, but here's a whole nother storyline. My helmet and suit. So if you know me, you know we do things with time management, meaning we kind of do just-in-time time management, if we remember econ. And so not always the best plan, but sometimes that's just the way things work, right? My helmet and suit, we planned way ahead of time for, like August, months in advance. Now, I'm a lady, and not necessarily small, petite, and easy to fill into just any kind of a race suit. And so Impact has ladies' race suits, and they have them off the shelf, but it all depends on measurements, right? And so I took my measurements way back in August, called them in, and we were working through getting all of the measurements taken care of. So we figured out which suit it was, everything was good, got the suit on order, got the helmet on order, everything was fine, and carried on. So then in October 11th to be precise, we actually went to Indianapolis for my birthday and my mom's birthday, but for my birthday we went to Indianapolis and we got a tour of Impact and got to see where the race suits were going to be made. They actually had BFG pit suits on the sewing machines right at that point, and they were cutting Shelby's and my suit the very next day. Sweet. I was kind of bummed that I wasn't there to see it cut, but okay, that's great. Okay, that's October. August, October, Here we go into November. Haven't seen the suit. Haven't seen the helmet. Nothing. Nothing. Where's the suit? Where's the helmet? Nothing. Nothing. Where's the suit? Where's the helmet? Nothing. Nothing. All of a sudden it's missing in UPS land. I'm like, really? How is it missing in UPS land? So I'm at SEMA the week before we go to, I was on tour directly to SEMA, directly to Baja. Like, that's how this all went down, remember? So I'm at SEMA stressing out over the suit not coming in. I'm also extremely anticipating that it's not going to fit correctly, right? Like, stressed out a little bit about it. And it definitely was too short. So they had to add 6 inches to the leg, which they said, oh, that's no big deal. That's easy to do. So I'm over anticipating this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need this suit because I wanted to, if it didn't fit, we still need time in order to get something to work, right? Like, I still need something regardless. Deep breath. So it never came. Never came. We're after it with Impact. Nobody can tell us a plan. Nobody can figure it out. And finally, on Friday, they're going to next day air me my helmet. Well, I'm flying out Sunday morning. So if they don't check box that Saturday delivery, I don't have a helmet. Yeah. So Friday, I got a tracking number. And Friday night, when it finally hit the UPS scanner, it was delivering to Arizona at 8:30 Monday morning, which was not gonna work. So Wes, thankfully, got the package on Monday morning. Emily had sent him another sticker to put on top of it to next day air it on to San Diego, and that's where the helmet sat for the week of pre-running. Now the suit was a different story. They had to cut another suit for both of us, and it's like, oh my gosh, are you kidding right now? So they cut a suit that week, and on Wednesday, next day aired it to San Diego. Javier had to go into San Diego on Friday for some of our other stuff that was already happening. So he grabbed my helmet, another guy's helmet, and these 2 suits, and brought them down. And so on Friday night was the first time I had seen our suit and our helmet. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I tried them both on. I'm like, let me have them right now. Let me go try everything on and make sure that it fits. And Javier is like, well, there was something about it that made me open the bag before I left. And instantly, like, my jaw dropped. Okay, this is going to be like a mini-me version of this suit, and there's no way I'm going to fit in it, and he already knows it. He's like, it looks like it might fit, I don't know, but there's no stitching on it. Meaning, most of the time you have BFG across the front and across the back, or your name, or something fancy, something that shows like, hey, I'm branded, I'm part of this team. Yep. Nothing. Really? So, I went and tried it on, and it fit fine. Shelby and I both, tried on our suits together, and we sat down, and we, moved around, and they're a little tight in the shoulders on both of us, but we both decided, okay, they'll be fine, right? And my helmet fit fine, and I did wear it for about 15 minutes in the minivan on Sunday on the way down, back down to La Paz, just to make sure it would fit fine, which it did. It felt great. And so on Monday, when we went to Cabo, Javier took off for a minute and took our suits to an embroidery place in order to get them embroidered on Monday. These are the things, my friends. These are the things. So there's that whole storyline that's going on in the sidebar, right? But then we're car prepping and making sure that we get everything taken care of for the car. These guys that have been down doing this for multiple years, they understand what they need. They add a horn, they add a couple other things that some of the other cars don't have, because they've learned in the past, okay, here's our failure, here's our weakest link, and so they are able to understand that and up it every time. Then on Monday night, we went to our Score Wide Open party, which was a blast, and in the La Paz Convention Center, which this was the second or third event that they had ever had at this convention center, so it was pretty exciting. And then Tuesday we did the same thing. We went back down to Cabo and did some more testing, did some more running around. And that Tuesday, that was technically our last night all together. So we went on a big dinner together to celebrate our success ahead of time, as even getting to that point in the race. And then Wednesday was tech and contingency. So we got to take the car through and make sure that it gets teched, make sure that everything that's on the checklist that a car needs to have is there. And then we also have to get our suits and our helmets teched as well and get those checked off, which jokingly, I had to jokingly say, well, at least my helmet and my suit got teched. Like, it's here, it made it. Might not look perfect, might not fit perfect, but hey, it passed. Check mark, right? So that all happened on Wednesday, and then we went off to our respective dinners. I went to one with the influencer group. I've worked with some of the influencers from BFG before, and they're a great group. So like you've seen some of the different girls that have posted stuff, and that's how we've gotten to know them through the Mint 400 and other places. So I got to hang out with them and some of the other racers that I knew. It was a lot of fun on Wednesday nights. But in the background, Thursday morning, it's start. It's a green flag Thursday morning. So it was stressful at the same time. Like, okay, I gotta get back. I still gotta do a couple things. We had to like pack all of our stuff up very strategically so that our bags were in the right chase vehicle, so that when we got out of the vehicles, we still had our bags or we still had our stuff. But then you also didn't want to break into all your bags. You needed just one bag where as soon as you got out, you had a change of clothes and you could be successful. Like, there's so many little idiosyncrasies that until you're in the middle of it, you don't understand. And I've chased for so many teams, like, it made a lot of sense what we were doing. So none of this was out of the norm for me, other than, okay, I need to make sure that we have a change of clothes, right, as you come out. And what does that need to look like? So here we come into race day, and here's the question that everybody really has. So, Charlene, how did you pee? Right? Like, how did you manage this? And let's talk about it. So it was a big strategy. Like, there was a big strategy for me to understand how to pee. And I went with the depends theory. Like, everybody I talked to, everybody that I've always talked to, everybody that's done it, like, depends is the way to go. So, in pre-running, during the week before, I chose a day, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pee in my depends on a pre-run day and see how it works. Like, we're gonna pre-run the pee run, right? Like, we gotta figure this out. And so I wore a depends one day, and I'm like, okay, after lunch, I'm gonna pee. I'm not gonna do it before lunch because you just don't know, because we don't know what's gonna go on. But after lunch, I'm gonna do it, and then we're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna see if it works. Good plan. So we got through the morning, no stress, no drama, no anything. Got to the afternoon, had lunch. I'm like, all right, drink a lot of water. Here we go. We're getting ready for our afternoon session, and I'm gonna figure this out. It'll be interesting. It'll be okay. Oh my gosh. We ate lunch, and they're like, okay, the hotel's just 20 minutes down the road, so we're just gonna go down the road right now, and we're done for the day. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I had myself so mentally prepared to pee in my pants that afternoon that was what I was gonna do. So hysterical is that. So I got into the hotel room, and I'm like, you know what, I'm still gonna try this. Like, I still gotta try this. I still gotta even understand, like, how this even works. So awkwardly, like, if you ever stood up, anyways. So there's that. So then, come race day, I'm like, okay, here we go. You know, the one thing that we had a lot of conversations about peeing and pooping in the minivan and race prep and all this kind of stuff. And Lance and I told Lance, I'm like, here's the one thing I'm going to ask of you. because as you know, you get like these nerves as you're getting up to a green flag or you're getting up to something, and the nerves make you want to pee. Like that's what makes you want to pee, is just nerves and excitement and everything. And he's like, yeah, I always pee like 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask super kindly, don't say anything that you're peeing, because it's just gonna make me think about it and make me want to, and then that's gonna stress me out, right? And I'm like, oh. So we get to the start line, into staging, and the good news is we end up staging right in front of a very nice hotel. I'm like, oh, perfect. So my friend and I, we just, before I see, we're getting closer to time, I'm like, you know what? We're going to run in right now and go to the bathroom. So we ran in, both of us like emptied our bladder. Great, perfect timing, good to go. Okay, I got this. And I had sorry, I'm going to back up a little bit. I had pre-gamed, so I overhydrated for 2 days, like super smart, overhydrated for 2 days. And then I, on contingency day, drank normal. And so now I had already hydrated up, and now I just needed to do what I needed to do, right? I didn't need to drink a lot in order to be successful. So we get in, we're all buckled in, we're getting up to the front line. We're probably like 10, 15 cars from getting the green flag. And there's a policia off to the driver's side. And the policia is like, hey, you got something leaking out the bottom of your car. You got something leaking. And I'm like, what? Like, we didn't understand what she was saying. And she's like, water, agua, leak under the car. And I looked at Lance and I punched him in the arm. And I'm like, are you really peeing right now? And he just started laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, all of that. Like, he was doing a good job not saying anything. And it was the policia that totally called him out. Hey, oil cat, what's up? So, anyways, to follow through with that story really fast, I will tell you right now, I did great. Never had to pee. Didn't have to test run the situation. Made it all the way to the end without having to pee, and all is good. And so that chapter is closed. We're good there. So we took the start. See, I'm telling you, like, there's so many things going on. So here came the green flag, right? Now we're finally racing. So here came the green flag. 60 miles an hour off the line. It was a speed zone. You could only go 60, into a 37, into a 60, and through all these people. Like, the crowds were huge. La Paz was so excited to have us there. It was so cool, and kept going and kept going and go, and we just passed some people. And I started, doing the Stella. You press the button and it tells the person in front of you, like, hey, we're right behind you. And then we also have the horn on, and then they acknowledge that you're there, which then that means they're pulling over so you can go around. So it was a really cool program that they have that goes into it. We got up to what was called the waterfall, and this is where we knew there was going to be a little backup, and of course there was. And there was a bug 11 car that was stuck there as a 2-wheel drive bug, but there was some people, some spectators that were helping. They were throwing rocks and helping them get up there, and we just did our job. Like, we just went a little bit at a time, picked off people. We knew that we were in the hunt. We knew at the very beginning, like, the start is the challenge, with a lot of silt, a lot of not being able to see, a lot of passing people, etc. And then we got into a little bit of a chaos situation, and the little bit of chaos situation turned into some silt and some passing and some using some traction boards and using all kinds of tools and all this stuff that was going on. And it was like, holy cow. And we got off course a little bit, and which ended up ripping a valve stem out of our tire. And so then about 3 miles down the road, we ended up having to change a tire. Like, all this crazy happened in like this one set of space, and then we kept going. And so one of my jobs as a co-driver is to call out the race miles. So I'm like, race mile 85, race mile 90, BC1, race mile 85, BC1, race 90. And when we got to BC1, race mile 100, I looked over at Lance. I said, check. I think I've just experienced every single thing that everybody talks about in Baja racing. In the last 100 miles, I think we can settle it down now. I think we can settle it down. And sure enough, we did. Like, we had checked all the boxes and we settled it down. We were already in a groove. It was fine. Like, we were doing good. We were in this nice pace. We were doing the right thing. We just needed to deliver the car to our next group. But then we came into pit 1. So my job is also to call into the pit. So BC1 to pit 1. We have a laundry list of things that we need. You know, tell me when you're ready. And so the lady that was at pit 1 responded back. She's like, BC1, go ahead when you're ready. And so I gave her the laundry list, like, hey, we had a flat tire on the driver rear, we need a new tire up on the rear. The car had been sputtering since the very beginning, like we were losing power in different zones, but I was looking at the oil pressure, we could never figure out when that was happening. So we had a sputter issue, we had something beeping at us, which we figured was the Zoleo, which is our little tracking device. So there was a bunch going on. I'm like, and I also want the lug nuts on the driver rear checked and make sure that we got them all tight. And good to go, right? Well, everything got done except the lug nuts getting checked. So off we go out of pit 1 and into pit 2. And quite frankly, I have nothing to talk about between pit 1 and pit 2. We had a great time. We were out there racing. Not a lot of dust. Like, everybody had kind of got themselves separated. We chased some people down. We passed some people. There was a nice breeze going on. Everything was great. You know, everything happened in that first 100 miles. Like, that's the name of the book. Race Mile 100. Can we settle it down? But then we handed off the car. So we got into pit 2, BFG pit 2, handed off the car to our friends, ACP and Jay, and off they went into the wilderness, having a great time. It continued to pop. So the vehicle continued to pop. We continued to have some issues. There was an alternator change throughout one of the scenarios along the way. And then things really got crazy once we got up to pit 8. They had to end up welding the headers. That was what the ignition or the popping was. There was ignition wires involved. There was spark plugs involved. Like, there's all these things involved, right? And trying to understand what that was. And finally it was just, hey, we need to weld these headers up really fast. And then between pit 8 and pit 9, there went the driver rear tire past the race car. Oops. Yeah, it's not supposed to do that. So it chewed off all the lugs and off it went. And in order to put the tire back on, we had to get a whole new hub because the studs were welded in. So you couldn't just put new studs in and put the wheel back on. You had to put the whole hub assembly back on. Well, the challenge with that is Wide Open had chase trucks for us, but we were way ahead of the chase trucks. So the chase truck was back at pit 8. We were already past it. So our chase truck had to go back to pit 8 to get the part. Another chase truck went in order to get tooling and to start helping pull the challenge apart. Our chase minivan went to AutoZone and tried to cross-reference and tried to get a unit just in case the one that was coming out of pit 8 wouldn't work. Oh my gosh, so much chaos. Like, every single person of our team was hands-on in some way at this point. It was about 2.5 hours before they got the part. That took the most time, and they got it back on. Like, once they got the part, everything was already prepped and ready to go, and boom, in 10-15 minutes off the car went. Well, in that time though, our competitor BC2 had caught up to us and even passed us while they were just finishing putting that together. So now it was a race, right? Now it was a race. And Kyle and Tucker and Shelby were in the car, and Kyle is a street driver, autocross driver, and he can get it on. And he's been driving Baja with BC1 for years, so he was ready to take it on. And Shelby was his co-driver, ready to help him out. And shabam, off they went. But we also knew what this section was like because we had done it on that Friday, and it was gnarly, and it's tight, and it's hard, and it was rough. And let's add, it had also rained, and it was nasty, and it was muddy, and it was gross, and it was dirty. And oh, by the way, after they got through pit 9, we went into limp mode. So then we got some water in somewhere, and so they were dealing with that. And then the the light bar across the top never did work. And so the only lights they had were at the front, and those were covered with mud. So they asked the pit crew to come in and wipe the mud off so they could even see. Like, absolutely crazy. Well, running down BC2 and passing them and making a bunch of time on them. So we got to the finish line. That's what matters, right? Like, chaos all the way to the end. Made it to the finish line. Super huge celebration. Very exciting. And we did beat BC2 by, I think the gap was about 42 minutes, which was very incredible given everything that had been going on. So we got there, 36 hours and 44 minutes was how long it took us. We left at 11:07 and we got in at about 11:45 the following night, right? So it's been a long time. 2 sunrises and 2 sunsets is what we saw during that race. So on Friday night, or what would that be? Yeah, Friday night, we went out to tacos about 1 a.m. in the morning, celebrating, seeing some of our other awesome racers that had been there, and enjoying their stories and everything else that had gone on. And then Saturday, we got to clean everything up. Everything was just a dire mess, just a gross mess. And so it was cool to work together as a team, clean everything up, get it ready for next year, sort all the tools out. And then we had dinner as our team. And while we were having dinner as a team celebrating the win, that's when the unofficial results came out. And the unofficial results said that we got 2nd place. And we're like, wait, what? And so we looked at the timing, and it was exactly an hour off what it should have been. And so we emailed back in, texted in, and they had realized that they didn't give us the adjustment for the time change, right? Going from Mountain Time to Pacific Time. So pretty crazy on that. So it was like we had won again after we got the confirmation that we were 1st place, not 2nd place, because of just a simple Excel error, technically. Sunday morning, we crossed the border, and you know what? It was the quietest, weirdest moment when everybody got out and went to the airport, and I ended up going to the hotel by myself, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so quiet. It's so quiet. I'm so sad. Right? I'm like, where is everybody? I'm the only one taking my bags into the hotel right now. This is weird. But very thankful for a meet and greet, and to be able to get to see people and let them check out the helmets and the suit and everything. And then Monday, Jenny kidnapped me, and she took me over to Agile Off-Road to do some Sprinter van stuff. And as soon as I got there, I'm like, I know where we are. And sure enough, Jackson Motorsports was just down the street, and that's where all the BFG pits had to come and drop off all of their goods. So we got to go hang out at Jackson. Well, 4 of the pits came in, 2 of the semis came in, and 2 of the non-semis came in and dropped off the tires and the extra fuel and everything. So, I mean, talk about an incredible 2 weeks. I flew back to Arizona yesterday, and now we're headed to Moab today. I'll be back online with you guys tomorrow, but wow. Thank you all for all of your support, for all of your efforts at home, for watching our social media. I saw you. I appreciate it so much. It really did make a difference. Sincerely, it does make a difference, especially when we're in the mix of that and just going so fast. And sleep deprivation is totally a thing, and it's just because you're on the gas all the time, trying to stay up with it, trying to stay successful, trying to do the best you can for your team. Like, that was my thing, is, hey, we're here for each other. It's not individual action at all. So Thank you for that. If you haven't had an opportunity, if for some reason this is the first time you're seeing it, go to the BC1 Facebook page, and maybe Cheryl or Dana or somebody can hyperlink that in really fast, because that's where we had all of the media for the entire 2 weeks that I was posting. I'd trickle a little bit over here to Ladies Laugh Road Network, but I didn't really want to overwhelm y'all with that because we have so many other things going on. But definitely get over there. Also, my personal page, Charlene Bauer personal page, I did some good write-ups there, and I have a couple more that I need to add to finish off the week, and then the race recap. But definitely appreciate you guys, and thank you again for supporting me in my journey. Remember, this was one of my journeys, and I get it. I have some ways to include you guys in the future. Don't worry, I'm always looking like, how can we include other ladies to do this? But as much as I support you in your journey, I appreciate you supporting me in mine. So on that note, we're gonna keep driving. We're gonna keep rolling here, get on to the next stop. And I will be online, so if you guys need anything, if there's something that you feel I've missed, please don't hesitate to reach out again. I'm not going to say I didn't, because email and text message and everything, especially down in Baja, sometimes they totally miss. They don't even make it to the end bucket. So please, if you feel like something has been missing, repop it for me, and let's manage that, and let's get that taken care of. We have some awesome plans that I'm now wrapping up with everybody now that I'm back stateside, and some that we even came up with when we were down there that, you know me, the answer is always, yeah, let's try it. So we got some other cool stuff coming up that I'm going to try and figure out how to mix into the system, and by the week of giving in December, you'll be able to hear all about it. So I appreciate you. Have a very, very thankful Thanksgiving, and so stoked to be able to do it. Val, I appreciate you. The only lady to win, would you say? The only lady to win her class in the Baja 1000, the Rebel Rally, and the backdoor shootout. Yes. Very, what is that? What's the word? Where you're very, well-rounded. Very well-rounded off-roader. Thank you. I do appreciate that. All right. Thanks for listening to my silly stories. And there's not a lot more there. Like, I gave you some of the dirt, man. I gave you a lot of the dirt. So, good times. I always love talking about peeing on live. I mean, why not? And if you just missed, or you came in late, make sure you go all the way to the beginning and then make it through. There's some good stuff at the beginning too. All right. Have a great Thanksgiving. I'm very thankful for you.